Welcome to Earth 2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and cute cuddly plushes of Baby Yoda are the norm. It's your boy Mo Crosby. I'm definitely going to get corrected by that in a second. Oh no. What was that? I'm definitely going to get corrected by that in a second. But we are here to discuss Mando Season 2, Episode 7, Chapter 15, The Believer. It's funny. It's a funny name for an episode. But here to do the episode with me, as always, is Anthony. Oh. Stop.
I had to end it. We're done.
Episode is over. You know what would be super funny is if you had like tiny cuffs for Grogu.
Oh,
yes.
shackling him.
Yeah, tiny shackles.
Oh, hey.
I would have died. It's okay. You can go back and bring the cute guy back. So we are here to discuss the Mandalorian.
Somebody stole my breakfast. Where'd my eggs go?
What is happening right now?
Oh, well. This episode had Bill Burr in it. That's the takeaway.
What is it? Do you remember the days when you started the podcast with, here's the title, let me read the overview. Let's go around the room and ask
We're too far in.
questions.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, everybody. This is Earth 2 Comic Cast, where insanity's the norm and chaos is our creed.
This is the mirror episode, okay? So we're gonna go back to our regular episodes next week, I promise. Anyway, so
Don't lie.
what did everyone think? Right, Anthony, what did you think about the episode? How did you feel about it at the end?
I mean, I felt great. It was the first episode we didn't have Baby Yoda.
Oh, good.
Look, people. Look, sometimes you get nicknames as a kid that just sticks. It could have been Snox. It could have been Eggs. It could have been Kermit. It could have been Little Shit. Like he just got Baby Yoda. If they wanted to call us what his mama named him, they should have told us a year ago. we gotta.
This is on them, really.
This is on them. We get nicknames all the time. You know, Patrick could tell you, I got called Preach once in a lunchroom, and for the next 4 years, I was called Preach. No one knew my name. Happens.
You okay?
No.
Some childhood residual.
Is that it?
Angst about nicknames.
Bill Burr was in it. This was Bill Burr's episode, right? This was a Bill Burr episode. They humanized his character from the first time we saw his character in the first season, which makes me think that he's coming back maybe in Rangers or some other capacity, because it was weird they didn't take him with them on their mission against the remnants of the Empire. Sharpshooter, Imperial. He's kind of what we wanted from Finn, if I'm being honest. Like, and his scenes are pretty much the scenes that stole the show, and I wasn't mad about it. It was cool. It was very artistic. I'm not sure which of the directors did this one. I didn't look.
Rick Famuyiwa, the guy who was supposed to do Flash at one point.
Oh, okay. I thought that the startup was cool to see him dismantling Imperial tech. I thought that was really visually and like story wise of his development. I thought that was a really cool thing to start him off with. Like he's.
Oh, I thought they were switching.
And so I thought it was cool to see him start from that, and we all knew it was going to happen when he was talking to that guy at that table. So, the thing I hated about the episode, if you want to get to that point, is
no, not yet.
Oh, okay,
not yet.
Put it down.
James and Stephanie, what did you think?
I thought it was an okay episode. It wasn't the best Mando. It wasn't the worst Mando. Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I liked it. I was into it. Yeah, I'm here for it. I love that one episode a season we get to see Pedro Pascal's face. I hope they keep that trend up. Just one.
He hates.
I don't know.
So yeah, what did you love about it?
I love that scene. Even so, it is of course hard to separate Pedro Pascal being apparently somewhat of a nitwit about his role on this show. But if you don't know that, like, I think to some extent it's a bid for the mini bombs, right? They took away Grogu's innocence and then they gave them Pedro Pascal's face because he's not a bad looking dude. Mm-hmm. But I love that. And it made me think about something Kyle had said a couple episodes ago where he lifts his mask to drink in front of Grogu after interacting with Kara Thrace. What's her name in the show? Whatever.
Just say the Mandalorians.
The Mandalorians. And so like there's been that thought in the back of our heads of like, does he realize he's in a zealous cult? Is he gonna start exploring with that? And then like from the beginning of the episode, they like start dangling that in front of you and they delivered. And I loved it. I love that breaking down of like, I'm gonna take off my Mando armor, but I'm gonna keep that you can't see my face. But then the situation demanded that he took his helmet off. I loved it. I love that he looked like a confused puppy the whole time. Like he's just, which is what would happen, right? Like he like the air is on my face. I'm not used to this. Like people can see my eyeballs. This is weird. Like I think Pedro Pascal did a really good job of conveying. Because previously, Din Djarin is like a very collected character. Like he's cool-headed. He knows what he's doing. He can calculate on the fly. And then he's in this foreign scenario and he's just lost. And Bill Burr has to save him. And I really liked that. I felt like that was character growth for him. And that whole conversation at the table was great.
James, what'd you love about it?
We didn't get your overall thoughts, Mo.
Okay, well, Bill Burr, I'm sorry. Wow, I'm
Bill Burr was his overall.
I'm getting to speak. I'm so confused. This is like my helmet. This is my helmet moment. I liked the episode. I wouldn't say if I loved it, but Bill Burr, again, as Anthony said, Bill Burr, this is Bill Burr's show. This was Bill Burr's episode. It was a show. I love that we didn't get Beskar. So when he got hit and he tried to defend himself,
made a comment while we were watching. He was like, "I was gonna like that part."
Yes, because he tried to defend himself and he was like, "Whoa, this is."
Well, and he like stumbled back into his seat, like he was beat up after that.
Yes, he got his ass kicked. But the one moment where I couldn't get it out of my head. I actually rewound the moment again like twice because he gets hit, like smacked, and he goes to defend himself and he goes, "Ah."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I forgot."
Yes. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, I don't want Mando to be in a lot of pain, do I? I actually absolutely just loved the interaction with Bill Burr in the transport, and he's like, he first takes his helmet off and he goes, "I can't see these things," and he starts like poking at Mando. Here we go. He starts poking at Mando. He goes, what did he say? He's like, what did he say? I think he said something to the point of when he said, "I can't see these things," and he rips the mask off and he goes, "Wait a minute. So you really are actually going to keep your mask on, you take your Beskar off, but you really will keep a mask on your face so we can't see your face." And he just pokes at him until the point where he actually has to take his mask off, which okay, so my thing, which also leads into what I didn't like, because if let's start with Anthony. What didn't you like?
This is why you don't get to talk on the show, is because you rob yourself of the moments.
Right. You have agency, Mo. You can say what you like and don't like. We're only gonna make fun of you.
Okay, so what I didn't like was in the part where, so the whole thing about him not taking off his helmet or taking off his mask, right? And then Bill Burr's point, because I'm not going to call him by his character's name, I'm just going to call him Bill Burr. Bill Burr's point was, "Hey, I can't go in there because that was a commander I served under, and he's probably going to recognize me. But the whole time you sat on the table with him, and he didn't even know you.
Well, that was trauma. That he was afraid of what he was going to do too, and I like that moment. And I'm gonna shut up because this is your moment. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, sit down.
I'm getting to speak. I'm so like I don't know how this works. Is this how you guys feel? Like I don't understand. Like
all right, sit down on the don't talk. I ask you what you think all the time.
It's different. Like where I get to go first.
Oh my!
I don't go first.
Stop talking about talking and talk.
I'm so excited. I'm sorry, but
I'm trying really hard not to interrupt you. Please, sir.
No. I thought again. You point out the trauma, but I was like, you could have just done this, and the mission would. But then the mission would have been over in like 2.5 seconds. If they went that route, but. But I also thought it was destined for them to have that table, that table moment. So even if Bill Burr went in on his own, that table moment would have happened, and that encounter would have still taken place. I think it should have been a respect thing. It's like, what, I have this trauma, but then again, maybe he just doesn't respect the code or the creed or whatever. He just, because the whole episode, they made a point of him poking at it or poking fun at it. Other thing I didn't like was Cara Dune made the comment in the beginning of the episode, you don't know what I had to do to get you out, and then they just let him go.
It makes perfect sense that they let him go.
Not to me, because I just feel like, she was this, she has this new position, this, she's trying to turn her life around in a certain way, but she just lets him go, and it's like kind of wild to me. Can
I explain it to you? It's really
go for it.
So Cara Dune gets to keep her position because he died. He died. That's why they don't take him. Because if she's seen later with the
reports,
she's not above falsifying reports. Have you met her?
I've never. She will cross and smudge some lines. I don't think that was.
It's not the perfect.
She's not lawful good. She is not lawful good.
Lawful Cara Dune. Like she's for herself. She's for navigating the system, and this resolution allows her to keep that position to leverage it for future favors to get Grogu back.
And what I thought that she saw him as a fellow soldier of
he redeemed himself in her eyes.
Yeah, so it wasn't that he was the imp or whatever she called him before. Is that now he's a soldier that we all got dirtied in the war, right? Which I think the Andor series is going to go into some more. But this episode was to redeem his character, as like I said before. I thought that the Mandalorian taking off his helmet again, I think this would mean more if we didn't see his face in season 1. But it was him going, is my code? Because I think in season 1 Mandalorian, he would have died before he took off his helmet, right? Like I think that's who he was at that point. And I seeing him in this evolution now is that Grogu,
Baby Yoda,
Grogu is now more important to him than his creed in a lot of ways, right? Because now he tried to compromise a little bit. All right, my face still isn't being shown, and then all right, I'm just going to show it to the scanner because it's still not, whatever, and go in. So there's a lot he's compromising on. I think that's showing his growth and how much he values the kid. And this was to humanize Bill Burr. See, that's somebody even worse than what we saw him as in the prison escape last season, and that's why you got that whole monologue. And I try to remember where that guy is from because he has an asshole look about him. Manner of speaking,
like he's a bad guy. He's not a good person.
But I think that character. I think he's a character actor and other things. Because even if he's not, he should be. He did that. We did that well.
He did that. Yeah, it was a good scene.
He almost like he's about to say, "Boy, what we have here is a failure to communicate," type stuff. And I like Mando's face, who did just look confused. Now, this is my fear though. Is now I have to see them as together characters. Because when he has the helmet on, I'm picturing this intimidating, like Clint Eastwood stare. But I guess that's why you'll have feds wear sunglasses or people wear sunglasses to look sturdy, sterner than they actually are to portray. But without his helmet, he was just looking like, I don't want to be here. I need to go. I feel uncomfortable. This reminds me of a Boba Fett comic book where they talk about because Boba Fett used to take his helmet off in Legends because no one knew what he looked like before the prequels. And somebody said, "Well, what about your face?" And it's like, "This is my face." And I feel like that's his face. His helmet is his face. So now this is just him being so exposed that he didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to. If it's not intimidation, his strengths are not charisma or fast talking or getting out of stuff. He's like, I don't know. I'm a trooper. Like, no, what's your designation?
Yeah, well, I felt like this was a really nice progression from something we talked about last episode, where Mando takes that protective stance. Like he goes from offense to defense of another character, like in a really I don't know what the right word is. Like, right, he in that fight, he goes to protecting Fennec. And this is like the next protection of like, he's so vulnerable in the scenario, which I think he knew. I think he planned this. Like, this was a way for him to test taking his helmet off in a way that he wouldn't be blamed for by the people he's keeping company with. But he takes a step further of he looks to Bill Burr for everything. There is not a moment where he takes initiative. There's not a moment where he doesn't even try to take control of the scenario. He lets Bill Burr swoop in and save him, and he follows his lead. And that is so antithetical to everything else we've ever seen about Mando. And I'm here for it. I love it.
Because it shows his social intelligence isn't as developed as other intelligences.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything.
Right. And if he can't intimidate with that look and with the mask and him being vulnerable, and that was Bill Burr's strength. Like, so they made a good team in that situation, and that was a good episode. I think also the special effects for the convoy run were great on that. I don't know if they built something or like I don't know how like they constructed that, but it was so great. I do think your hijackers or rebels or whatever, and you have thermal detonators and hover skiffs, but you have sticks to fight with. Like, not one of you have a blaster. But it was also good to see him not being vulnerable in those fights anymore, right? Like to not have that Beskar, he had to actually fight, and he lost. I mean, he technically lost.
That was a great scene.
I'm a sucker for a train top fight scene. I love them. They never get old to me.
And we got to see like the foreshadowing of him using the Beskar spear later.
Way to steal my point.
Huh?
We were watching the episode, and like throws the spear, and I turned to James and I was like, foreshadowing. And then
I didn't catch that. I didn't even catch that. That's a really good point.
Thank you.
We got to see his hand-to-hand fighting skills, which was on point, and he wasn't invincible. Like, he wasn't John Wick up there, but he could handle himself, which I like. They could have really went to trying to make him this invincible badass, and they really this was a great character episode for him. I know
they knocked him down on multiple pegs.
Yeah, and
Mo, you're gonna make me dizzy.
It's a lot of work. Talking head.
What was also interesting that I really like the direction of this is seeing the stormtroopers celebrate when they got in. Like that really hit me. And then there was another point when Bill Burr shot the guy. And first, I love Mando's face. Like, don't do it, man. Like, don't do it. It was Django. It was a Django Unchained moment when, like, sorry type of thing. He was like, look, man, we need to get out of here. Like, we just need to go. It's just words. But the other stormtroopers didn't know what to do. They were like,
they were confused at first.
Like, what? They didn't start shooting until Bill Burr shot at them, right? And so I thought that was a really good way to it humanized the stormtroopers in a way, which I didn't think they were going to do, and I think it was purposeful, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think this is what we could have got from Finn. You know, I'm trying not to crap on the sequel stuff all this episode, but this is what I wanted from Finn. I wanted Finn to be this ex-stormtrooper that had to wrestle with what he did and what he was made to do and commanded to do. And, you know, it didn't have to be as dark as shooting the guy in cold blood, because that might be Finn's character, but Bill Burr sold it. He sold it.
Do you think that Bill Burr shot both of them because the moment necessitated it, or because he was throwing Mando a bone?
When he shot the guy across the table?
Mm-hmm.
The way it was played to me was that he had trauma from that incident. I don't think he thought that guy was going to recognize him. I think he didn't want to be in the room with him. I think
I agree on that front. Yeah,
and that was like a monster to him. And when he had to confront it, and the guy kept talking, and I think he had made up his mind at that point. hey, but you know, a lot of my buddies died. And it's like, well, they died for it. Yeah, because he didn't shoot him under the table. He wanted him to see it coming. He wanted to see. That was him almost confronting his abuser in a way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I thought it was a good scene. And I never think much of Bill Burr's acting. I listen to his stand-up a lot and things like that. But in this scene, he was his funny blue collar kind of guy, and then he went to this serious like PTSD type of thing, and it worked for me.
Yeah, I loved it. I just kind of thought maybe because didn't he shoot 2 people at close range before he started firing? And he makes that comment of like, I never saw your face, and then he shoots the second person, which to me kind of communicated like, I have not forgotten the cost that you just paid.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was actually going to ask a question about that because he did make that comment, you know. So, and that was part of it. I'm sorry.
No. His whole monologue in the truck, I think, was leading up to those moments, right? About how we have to compromise in this universe. We can. You just my bare minimum, like, is just to be able to sleep at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But and I love that I love that scene for so many reasons. And one, I love the capping of Bill Burr's antagonism towards Din Djarin of like, I'm closing this for you. I understand that I participated in what led to this moment, and I take it seriously. Like, I know that I just had a moment, but like, I haven't forgotten that you're here with me right now. And like, you can trust me with the vulnerability that you just gave me, which I know is wild, but I was just vulnerable in front of you as well.
Right. We both were exposed. Like our skins were both exposed at this point. And I think when you see somebody who has lost faith in everything, and you see somebody who has faith in something, the person that lost faith will try to pick at that because they're hurt. They've been cynical. Their faith's been crushed, and they're picking at at that other person's faith. And then, but he really didn't want him to lose his faith. He didn't want him to lose who he was or his principles. And he wanted to let him know it's okay. Sometimes we have to compromise. It doesn't change. This moment doesn't define us. And I might be reading deeper into it than it is.
No,
but
I think it's exactly what it is. Is like we have to do what we have to do, and we're more than a culmination of moments.
Right. Yeah. So I think on that level, it was great. But can we talk about my man Sean? His shiny new armor. He got his nice spray paint. Like, Boba Fett. You see his armor?
He looked much better.
He's like, man, look.
I was gonna ask about the end, the very end of the episode where they get the message to Moff, and he gives him the exact words he used. I think for me in that moment, I was like, okay, so this was like Mando Din reclaiming his agency, because I felt like I don't know if it was Stephanie who said he felt like a lost puppy the entire episode. In that moment, he became a badass again, and he was like,
he put on his dad hat.
Yeah,
that fell flat for me, but go on.
Oh, okay. I kind of liked it. He became a badass again, and he just
when we watched it together, I was so amped by that speech, but I think it was like the emotions of the episode like carrying me through. Because I did go back and I watched the Moff Gideon getting that message for a second time, and I was like, oh, that is kind of lame wording. Like he botched it. He revealed his hand by sending that message to Moff Gideon, right? He's revealing that like, this is a vulnerable point for me. This is how you break me down. It was not intimidating.
Interesting.
There's also like, you don't know how much I care about.
You have something of mine, and I care about it more than anything else.
That one. I think your summary of it's better than I was going to say. But saying that to the person that you're coming after isn't useful in the conversation.
Not at all.
And it doesn't intimidate. It just says it costs, like, I don't know.
I'm reckless enough to die for this, and I'm telling you about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, quick. If the goal is to get I'm sorry, Ma.
No, that's fine. Real quick question. So you saw it twice, Stephanie, right?
Just the recording.
That recording twice. James, how many times did you watch that moment?
Just once.
Okay, so, and in that one time, well, because the one time for me, I'm with Stephanie. I was carrying on, wow, he was very vulnerable in the episode, and then at that moment, he got his badass back. So maybe I'll have to watch it again. Is where I'm just to see, because again, hearing you guys say it, it sounds 100%. You guys are 100% right. You just showed your hand. It's like if you're playing Hold'em and you have an ace and a king, and there's you don't know if you don't know what your other person has, or you're bluffing or whatever. You just literally showed that you have a good hand or whatever, or you have they have something. I think in that moment, you're right. In that moment, it's like, oh, this isn't just a mission for me anymore. This is something I care about.
Personal.
Yes.
And I feel like it's.
I was just gonna say, you could give that same sentiment across more intimidating and just being like, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna take what's mine, and then you're not saying things that aren't useful to the conversation. You aren't saying things that make you more vulnerable, as Steph said.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think it's a continuation of what we're seeing from Din Djarin in this episode of like, so he's back in his armor, he's back in familiar ground, but he's still reeling, and so he messes up.
So
okay.
So I think that. So one, I want to address something. They're saying it's got a big guy's badass back. To me as a dad, the badass moment was taking off his helmet to get scanned and doing that. That was the badass moment for me. That's not a dig at you. I don't want you to feel like it's a dig at you. It's just that showing your vulnerability doesn't mean you're not a badass. Doesn't mean you're not tough. Doesn't mean it takes a lot of courage to be that vulnerable, right? Especially
absolutely. It really shows how committed he is to Grogu.
Right, because you'll do anything for your kids, and that's the relationship he has with them, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is, immediately when I saw the thing, and I've seen a bunch of memes about this was his taken moment, like good luck type of thing on the phone or whatever. Except the taken, it was look, hey, just leave my kid alone and this is over, right? Like I'm telling you this warning so it can stop. This moment, like I feel like Boba Fett should looked at him as like, what are you doing? Like they didn't know we were coming.
There are 5 of us. There are 4 of us.
The biggest thing we had was surprise. like
in my head, he like snuck to the back of the ship to send that recording.
Like this is who they gave my show to. But I feel like it was more for the fans than anything, and maybe it was to offset what we had just seen from his like puppy dog face thing for the audience, I guess.
Yeah, set the tone for the next episode.
Yeah, and like, oh, get your hype. The rumble's about to go down next episode. But like, I think when you think about it, logically, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what did you gain from that?
Nothing.
He might go and hurt the kid just because you threatened him. You know?
Yeah, because we don't really know who Moff is, to be honest. I mean, we
got some idea though, right?
Yeah, we have an idea that he will actually put Grogu in cuffs.
Right. What if he said, "I'm gonna cut off this kid. I don't need his blood. I can cut off his arms and seal his arms. I mean, seal the wound shut so he can't force or be harder for him to like force pushes and all that stuff."
Right. So it's
like that would get the person you cared about hurt. Like that kind of.
So it was, and again, in the moment watching it coming from the episode, it felt like, oh my god, the hype beast got me. Hype machine. If they were releasing the hype engine, I was 100% like, oh my god, hype engine, I'm in there. But like, hearing it again and because I watched it once and I didn't think about it again, and I was like, oh cool. But hearing it again, and because they don't give us a coming next, they don't give us that coming next on Mandalorian or next week on Mandalorian. They don't do that, and because they don't do that, that immediately just gets you pumped, and you're like, oh, I don't see anything. You start having scenarios in your head. In my head, I'm already seeing the fight, the spear versus sword fight in my head. I've already seen it like 10,000 times. I can't wait to see it on screen. And that is the lead up into next week. I want to ask how or what are you expecting from the next episode of Mandalorian?
I'm still expecting the same thing I said last week when you asked the question, for the other Mandalorians to show up.
Ooh.
And I also think this is more of a want than an expectation, but I want this Jedi that's coming for Grogu to show up.
I don't think we're going to get Jedi till season 3. I want it now. I don't think we're going to get it till season 3.
I think we're going to get Bo-Katan going, what? Man, I should stay with him. I'm looking for this guy and he's going after the kid. Why didn't I just stay with the kid? So it'd be cool for them to show up since that's their major plot point, and maybe they'll get us into the war for Mandalore or whatever that's going to be in the future. I'm really curious what they're going to do with Grogu because this is the first episode we haven't seen him, so we don't know what's been going on with him. And knowing time in Star Wars is kind of weird because we don't really know how long it takes to jump to certain places a lot of times. So we don't know what he's been going through. And last episode had me scared for him because if he's not being trained and he's just lashing out with the Force, that's dark side stuff. Like that's how you get more and more used to hurting people and going that route. So we don't know. So it makes me more scared. I don't think there's a scenario where he doesn't get him back, but I'm more scared of what that sets up for the future for him than anything else. I think we're gonna get the Spear versus Darksaber fight. I don't want Boba Fett to die and Din Djarin to get his ship. I think we just got Boba Fett back, but I'm scared because the Razor Crest got blown up that Boba Fett dies and then Mando takes his ship. This is the Rey Falcon lightsaber thing all over again. So I'm a little worried about that. What was really cool though is we never got to see inside the Slave One when it takes off and saw the cabin turn inside. Like that was a very cool effect. I watched it a couple times because I still didn't mentally grasp all the function, but like I thought that was awesome. And we got to see the ship, the seismic charge from the back, and it was before it exploded, I was like boom. I'm so happy.
So ultimately, I think I feel like we're all kind of okay on this episode, kind of good on this episode, and I'm with Stephanie. We're not gonna get Jedi next week. It would be amazing.
It might be the closing scene.
I don't think we will either. I just want it.
Yeah, we might get a message or a hooded figure staring at them that we can't see who their face is, so they have time to actually decide who it's going to be.
Because they probably haven't cast.
Yeah, can we talk about who we want it to be?
Sure.
No. Before you do that, because I don't have a skin in that game. What I think might happen is in the last episode, Grogu does some ridiculous power force move, and this Jedi feels it, and so we get the scene of it closes on that Jedi being like, "There's a disturbance in Force," and then it closes. Okay, now you can talk about the things that I don't know anything about.
Who wants to go? Okay.
I don't even know who's a viable option. That's how much I don't know about.
Well, we can run on a list of who we know. Would that help?
Yeah, go for it.
So right now, Luke's active.
Mm-hmm.
We
Leia's
don't know. We know Leia. If you want to count the sequels as canon or not, whatever. Leia's being trained right now. You have Ahsoka, but you assume she's not coming. There's Ezra, and there's the kid from the game. We don't know
Cal.
Like so we know those are at least 5 people that are still alive. We also know that Kanan's the Jedi from Rebels. He had a kid that was like 4 or 5, and it's 5 years after, so it's 10 years. So he might be a good user too.
Are you saying with the pilot, right?
Yeah, with Hera.
Yeah. He did have a
So
kid.
we also Darksiders. We know if you want to count Snoke as being around, that's Snoke from the sequels. Snoke. Sorry, he doesn't matter. But
You might.
he might. And then if you want to still count the sequels, the Emperor's still around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So depending on who they get, will to me decide how they're treating the sequels.
What's her name? Asajj. Well, she's not necessarily.
Asajj Ventress is dead at this point.
Or is she a bounty hunter? Did she become? Oh, she's dead. Okay. Well,
What do you think are
we
the
don't know that
likelihood
because-
of a dark and a light side coming for him?
Right.
And season 3 is about a battle for Grogu.
I don't want to crowd it. So she died in the Ahsoka books, I think the Ahsoka books she died, but the books are no longer canon. The book says
because in one of them, later she became a bounty hunter. There's a lot going on with her and her character. I thought she was interesting in Clone Wars.
And the Night Sisters are still around.
Yeah, Night Sisters is still around. So
I don't know any other than Anakin and Luke and Leia. I don't know anything of what you just said.
The Night Sisters are like these witch force users. They dominate the men on their planet. Like Darth Maul was one of their
Was a
was
brother?
one of the males of their planet. And
His brother.
yeah. So
Is Darth Maul an option? Is he dead at this point?
no, he's alive.
He's alive.
That's another point. That's another point. That he's alive. He's alive at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Oh no, he's dead. He died in Rebels. He died in Rebels. So he's dead too.
Dang.
There's apparently one other person in the video game. I haven't played it yet. Suri Junda, but
Oh yeah, the black woman, is that the black woman who's cut from the?
No,
I haven't played it.
She cut herself.
Never mind.
Oh, relax. She cut herself. Never mind.
Oh,
Are you talking about wait, the video game, the one with Cal in it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah. She's
It's a black woman.
yeah, she's interesting. That's all I say.
I don't mean to
Or we
reach
can
into
bring up-
that. There's a picture, and that's all I know about her.
But apparently they made it so Yoda was wrong when he said that you're the last Jedi left, so it could be anybody. They could pull anybody up. Yeah, her.
Yeah, her. Yeah, she's interesting. So, wow, they're
And we said Ezra, right? We said Ezra,
Ezra.
but
Yeah.
we don't know where Ezra is though.
right?
He's looking for Grogu.
That-
And then that way you have like Ahsoka is like, dang, I should have stayed with the child.
Just stay with the child. Everybody's like,
Everyone realizes that Grogu is the answer to their problem.
no, seriously. But I am looking forward to next week though. I'm looking
yeah,
forward
but
to
who do you
all
want
of
it to be? Who do you want it to be?
who do I want it to be? I want it to be Ezra because I would just die if it was Ezra. But that's what I would want it to be, honestly. Because I don't want anyone from the sagas in this.
Yeah, sagas would ruin it.
I want it to be either Cal or this new person. You guys already know Suri.
The lady.
Whatever. I want it to be a video game person because I want them to validate my video game playing.
Why did this happen? Damn it! They happen to be matter.
It's canon.
I mean, video games used to be canon. It's part of the thing, right? But now it's part of the old universe, and so like we discussed this a couple weeks ago, but all my lightsaber knowledge is wrong now.
Right?
They dumped that stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of want them to revalidate it and bring some of that stuff back.
But I think isn't that what this show is kind of doing? Like, kind of validating a lot of the stuff that like the Disney universe has kind of said no. Yeah.
But I don't think they've brought anything in from the video games at this point.
I mean, the Dark Troopers
Oh,
from an old.
that's true. They did bring the Dark Troopers from
If I'm to be honest, I wanted to be Luke. I wanted to be recast as the guy from the Winter Soldier. Mark Hamill has kind of signed off on him, looking like more like a younger him. And the only reason I say Luke because to me the Star Wars universe can't move forward until you fix Luke. Like you fix.
You want Sebastian Stan to play Luke?
He's already doing something else.
Sebastian, sorry, not to be surface level, but Sebastian Stan is way too handsome to be Luke. He's this old, rugged.
Give him some break. Give him a break.
I'm sorry, no, but I mean, he's like this rugged, handsome man, and wouldn't Luke at this point be a ditzy teenager?
No. Luke
Yes.
You would
mid.
He was pretty serious in Return of the Jedi.
But okay, so he's not ditzy, but he's a kid. He's barely an adult.
So we have 6 years between. So he was 18 or 20 in New Hope.
Sebastian Stan is not a young 20-year-old.
So at the end of Return of the Jedi, he's like 26. 5 years after that, he'd be 30, 31.
The amount of work you're gonna have to do to Sebastian Stan's face to make that believable did not work the price of Sebastian Stan.
You don't want to cut that hair.
Sorry.
But either way, I'd like it to be Luke, just to fix this character, and I'd love to see like a thriving Jedi Order, no matter what happens in 20 years. I like to see a thriving Jedi Order, or Luke, Leia. Yeah, that's pretty much my bet.
I don't want it to be Luke
or
or Leia. I don't want it to be a main saga character because that ruins what I thought Mando was supposed to be doing.
I
felt
the same, but you convinced me at this point that that's already ruined.
It is ruined, but I'm
no. But I want to harp on that. Ask you a question on that for a second, Stephanie, because now that they've announced all these other Star Wars shows coming, right? Doesn't that kind of put you at ease for the fact that okay, now Mando is just gonna be Mando. It's not gonna be no. So
no, because now Mando has 13 shows to compete with. Right. Like at this point, when you have that many shows running, you're constantly going to be, as a company, you're going to be constantly evaluating which shows are worth going, like continuing. I'm putting so much money into this franchise. I'm going to cut the dead weight. So if Mando Season 3 can't compete with all of the excitement of these new shows, it's going to get cut. So they're going to have to make big gambits in order to keep it going.
And it's a lot. It's a lot. If they make all these shows at the same time, it's a saturation of.
At best, we're getting through third, maybe fourth season, and then fading it out to make way for these new shows. In which case, you want to end Mando on a high note to hype up the next show that's coming.
Right. So this show's going to suffer for the putting the whole universe on his back, no matter what. In my opinion.
So it's at this point you can't fix that.
But I would also say this: it doesn't have to be Luke, but it could be one of people Luke is training at this point, right? It could be. I can
see
okay with that. I'd be more okay with that than Luke, because I don't want them to recast those main characters. I know they'd had to do it for the prequels for Anakin and Obi-Wan, but like beyond that, they've kind of kept the same actors all the way through. And
they already did it for Han. They already did it for Han. So
that's true for the Han Solo movie. Yeah.
Wait, there's a Lando movie coming. I don't know if I'm or show.
Watch your thing. I don't really care.
So I just go ahead and ask right now before we leave. Is anyone excited about what's coming next for Star Wars?
Rogue Squadron.
Okay.
The Patty Jenkins, I wasn't excited for Rogue Squadron, but the Patty Jenkins, like, watch that thing. She talks about how her dad was a fighter pilot and he died in his service, and she only wanted to make a fighter pilot movie. That kind of got me. I know that was what it was designed to do, but it did get me.
It worked.
It worked.
No, my takeaway was Star Wars has no chill, and I'm not going to spend any time trying to discern what they just announced.
Okay, good. So James, Rogue Squadron because
he's a pilot.
I kind of wanted to just. I thought he was going to get this profound answer, and he's definitely like, no, it's just because he's a pilot.
And I had so many questions. I was like, he's a pilot? Let me chill. I
thought it was going to give like this really great like introspective and
sorry.
It's okay.
I think it is partly because I became a pilot a while back. I haven't flown in a while, but partly I became a pilot because of fighter stuff like Top Gun and those kinds of things. Okay. But I'm excited to see a show that way. But also, I think they kind of announced Rogue Squadron years ago, and we've just been waiting for it to happen. And when is it going to come out? What's it going to be? And now we finally got like, here's a little bit more about it. I
think it's more hype now because they actually dropped the Squadron, the game.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, look what we can do here if we just take this here.
I played this take it seriously because some of those things won't be made. Some of the things they announced won't be made. They were for the investors' hype. But you can tell the PR machine has shifted. So like even take Boba Fett. Boba Fett before he appeared on the Mando, the PR stuff was Boba Fett's not a real Mandalorian. He's not needed. This is why the Mando is better. Now it's changed to this is why Mandalorian matters. This is why Boba Fett matters. This is why Rogue Squadron is getting so much hype right now. And Patty Jenkins is a high profile director. You're not gonna, no matter what, they're making it at this point, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm assured that they're gonna put a lot of power behind it.
She did Wonder Woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's Wonder Woman in the sequel, which we're gonna cast the day after Christmas, but because HBO Max, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me not get lost. Thank you guys for coming to do this. I really, really do appreciate all of your inputs. And next week is the last episode of Mandalorian. It'll be sad to see you guys go. No, it won't be because we'll be back for Discovery. By force. Oh no, but seriously, I really do appreciate it. That's the love I got for you guys. That's the love I got for you guys. I really do appreciate it. Like, even though, but I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you very much, James. And I really appreciated you guys sitting in order for Discovery. No, I have to say thanks to the little things. See you guys next week for the finale of The Mandalorian.
This is the way.
This is the way, I guess.
That's a good sign.